So it's a big day here, it's winter, and it's time to get a new set of sneakers for the Equinox. Presently we got the stock tires on, and they're not the greatest snow performers. So we're going to change them over to a set of winter skins and give that a try, see what the ride comparison is. A lot of discussion about winter tires, or I should say tires for EVs, and a lot of misconceptions. We're going to go over some of those today. So the elephant in the room is the belief that EVs need special tires. And the answer there is not really. Effectively, any good tire will go on an EV. When people say that they have EV specific tires, what that means is they've engineered a tire that has low rolling resistance. And some EV tires have a special foam in them for sound deadening. So it's not really the tire that is actually that much different. As far as its construction, it's the rolling resistance. And that's been a thing since about the 1970s, in fact. They started concerning themselves with rolling resistance back when OPEC happened in the 1970s. So it's not really a new thing. In fact, a manufacturer like Michelin, they rate all their tires as EV-ready tires. So they don't really make a special tire that only goes on an EV. One thing you do have to make sure of, though, is that you put enough air in the tire. Most EVs need more air. In fact, in my Equinox's case, it needs 42 pounds of air in the tire. The other thing is that it's actually not the tire that holds the car up, it's the air in the tire. So it's really important for safety, and it's really important for your ride quality that you have enough air in the tire to hold up the heavier EV vehicle. Let's take some time to do some tire math. You may or may not be familiar with how tires are rated and they're labeled. The tires that are stock on my Equinox are 245, 65 R19s. So 245 is actually a number that indicates the width of the tire itself. So that's the distance across the top of the tread. 60 is actually a percentage, or 65 is actually a percentage. So what that means is the height from the inner rim up to the face of the tire, up to the tread, is a percentage, 65% of the width. And the last number, R18 or R19, refers to radial and the width of the rim in inches. So you can decode a tire looking at that number. Another thing is sometimes you end up with a different tire on for winter purpose than summer. And this is where some speculation comes in. I've seen some tests. Doesn't seem to be a clear-cut answer, but in some cases what you'll find is a winter tire will be a thinner, not quite as wide version of the summer tire. The idea being that a wider tire with a wider tread actually pushes more snow in front of it, like a snowplow. So the thinner tire tends to slice through the snow and push it aside a little better. Seen some tests, not sure if that's 100% accurate. It's a theory, but in any case, it's often the case where you put a different size tire on a vehicle for winter as opposed to its summer equivalent. I've got a set of steel rims that I purchased online and a set of winter tires that I think will fit nicely on the vehicle. We're going to put them on and we're going to compare the old and the new set of tires and how we expect them to perform. So it's a crisp Wednesday morning, minus 9 degrees. Got some brand new snow tires on the Equinox. We'll have a look at those, and we are going to do a little test this morning, looking at our energy efficiency driving to work on our 10-kilometer drive, or my 10-kilometer drive. We're going to see what the energy efficiency is like, and what the difference is between. I guess there's going to be two tests this morning. It's minus 9, and the last time I did this energy efficiency test, we were looking at around 1 degree Celsius or 2 degrees Celsius. So it's a fair bit colder. And we've got the new winter tires on as opposed to the original all seasons. The all seasons, they really weren't very grippy. They did push the snow around a little bit. The all-wheel drive compensated that somewhat, but the new winter tires seem to have a much more grip, almost like a billy goat on the ground. I'm really happy. Last night I was driving around testing them out, and they kind of clawed their way through the snow and down the slippery streets pretty easily. So pretty happy with them. And we're going to now take a shot off, see what our morning commute is like, and have a look and compare at our energy efficiency given the change in tires and the change in temperature. Okay, so I pre-conditioned the battery, and we're starting from a similar condition that we did when we did this test a little while ago, a couple days ago, a couple weeks ago. And we're sitting with 100% of our battery usage at 0 kilowatts, and actually presently sitting at -8 degrees. So let's start our trip to work and compare our efficiency. So there's a notable increase in traction and handling and control with the winter tire. Definitely would not recommend that anyone stays with the all-season tire that comes standard on the EQUINOX EV. Four-wheel drive does compensate for the lack of traction a fair bit, but there is no mistaking actual grip on the road. The kind of grip you get in inclement weather and cold weather with an actual winter tire. I chose to replace it with an 18-inch tire, or the tires with an 18-inch tire. The stock tires on the EQUINOX are a 19-inch tire. So I bought steel rims and sensors and tires. Went to an online store. I may as well mention it, 4tires.ca. I'll put the information down in the description. And I got a really good deal on the package. They assembled the tires, the rims, and the sensors and shipped them to me within a couple days, all at a price that was much better than I could have got somewhere else. There are a couple of places online that you can buy tires. I often look at Black Circles as well, and I've bought from both companies at different times depending on what tires I'm looking for what vehicle. So it cost me about $1,400 Canadian total for the tires, rims, and the sensors. Putting them on was no problem. Having the sensors paired to the car, that worked out pretty easily as well. No surprises there. So we're pretty happy with the transaction at this point. I keep saying we, like I'm the queen or something. I have to stop doing that. I'm pretty happy with the transaction so far. So with the winter tire comes grip, and you can actually hear that grip on the road, especially at highway speeds, with the tread grinding away on the road surface. You can hear that whirring pattern that you get because of the increased traction. You can have a choice. You can have a quiet tire, or you can have a tire that has traction. Although there's been a lot of work put into low rolling friction tires, I understand the purpose of that, but you can't replace traction for safety in the winter months. So like my previous efficiency test driving to work, I'm keeping at the speed limit, not aggressively accelerating, and trying to keep up with traffic in order to maintain a consistent test between the two different events. I don't expect it to be absolutely scientifically accurate, but I would like to get a measure of the difference in driving and efficiency given temperature and tire. I'm told, reading online, that effectively often you experience like a 30% reduction in efficiency, and I'm kind of curious to see if I have that kind of dramatic change. And then we throw the tires in on top of that, so that should just exacerbate the lowering of the efficiency of our travel to work. We're going to find out. So we're coming into our parking lot, and made to order 10 kilometers, 10.1 usually, so by the time we actually park it, efficiency is down a little bit, but not a lot. Nowhere near what I was told to expect. One change that I did see there that's significant is regeneration. So We had, I believe, over 3 kilometers of regenerated power when we did this before. We're down at 1.2 kilometers regenerated now, and we're at 5 kilometers per kilowatt hour, and our tests previously had us in, well, depending on the trip, 5.3 to 5.6. So given that it's -8, so a good 8 degrees colder, and we've got winter tires on, I don't want to say that's insignificant, but it certainly is a lot less drop in efficiency than I expected. So finally, in total, used 1.8 kilowatt hours of power to drive. So that's, again, not a lot. That's very much in line with what I would use with summer tires and on a good day. I don't know if this is an anomaly. I'm going to check it again, and I guess I'll cross-reference it a couple times. -8, pretty cold. But overall, the performance hit is minimal. Maybe the preheating helped a bit, no doubt there. We did see a significant change in the regenerated power. So the battery might not be as capable of taking in that power, or maybe I'm a little higher state of charge at this point, and it's less efficient at recapturing energy from regeneration. That could be an option I hadn't thought of before. In any way, you know, our range test has it's been revealing. So that really wasn't what I expected at all. I did expect to get a range hit. I expected it to be a lot more than it was. We ended up at 4.9 kilometers per kilowatt hour by the time I actually stopped the car. Same 10.1 kilometers, about half the regeneration, maybe a little less than half, but other than that, pretty happy with the winter performance. I know there are people that have mentioned online that they've had a significant hit in range and efficiency in colder temperatures. I'm going to keep an eye on this. I might run it again. Look for another update to this maybe in the future. Maybe I'll try it at a colder temperature and see what the effect on range is, and I might double check it on a similar day to see if I get similar efficiency. But for now, winter range and efficiency, given that you preheat, seems to be fine. Seems to work out pretty well. I'm pretty happy.